Hello everyone, my name is Abimbola Akinwumi. You're welcome to Now That You Are Married. Today we want to look at another vital topic, communication. Communication is passing across message from one person to the other. Now let's narrow it down to marriage. Communication is passing message from one spouse to the other. And this communication is incomplete until the other spouse understands what is being said. So communication is a two-way thing. You are doing the talking, the other party is receiving the word that you are talking or whatever you're saying to the person. Today we want to look at, we've seen people argue over what you said, I didn't understand, or sometimes they don't even hear. So I want us to look at what affects communication in marriage. A talking couple is a loving couple. You must talk about anything and everything. There is nothing too dirty to discuss with your spouse. There is nothing too trivial. There is nothing too serious to discuss with your spouse. Because your spouse is supposed to be your best friend, is supposed to be your gist partner. So as soon as you return, you're supposed to just tell your spouse everything you've gone through. But you know, in some cases, you find the other spouse using the information given by one spouse against that spouse. For example, your spouse comes home and tells you, if you see what I saw, one man with big pot belly, and then you joked about it. And then another time you said that's how you go about abusing people. You will not mind your business. You are the one that is saying the pot-bellied person. That is using information that has been given against the giver. I don't think that is right. Couple must learn to talk. Talk about it, the most stupid thing, say it. The most serious thing, say it. Because if you don't talk about it, you'd end up talking to somebody else about it. And you might end up getting wrong counsel. I want to believe that you will still remember that we're talking about two people that are captains in the same ship, and they both have to ensure that that ship does not capsize. So communication is very, very key in marriage. Some couples don't even talk. They are not the talking type. So when you find them in their sitting room, one person is busy on the laptop, the other person is busy on the phone. And they are busy gisting with their friends on social media. And then you find one person smiling or laughing, and yet they are not talking to each other. I think couples need to create time to discuss. You must find time for this intimacy. You must find time to discuss. You must find time to communicate. From the very serious thing to the most unserious thing. Communication is very, very important. Today, I want us to look at some aspects of communication. Sometimes when you say the right thing at the wrong time, you get a wrong response. So it means there is time for everything. You must watch the time. For example, if your husband is at Arsenal fan and then the team is playing, and that's when you are discussing, honey, you know when I got to the clinic today, the doctor said, you get a terrible response because he might not even hear you all through. Or your wife is busy watching African Magic or Telemundo, yes, Telemundo. And then that's the series she's been waiting. Okay, that's the episode she has waited for all the week just to get the conclusion of the matter. And that's why you're talking, honey, you need to go to the school of our son tomorrow. And she may not even hear. And if she says, okay, that does not mean she has had. So time is very important. We must choose the right time for the right kind of talk. If it's general gist, you can do it anytime. But when you have to do serious talk, then you must watch the time. The suggested time that works with most people is just before they retire to bed. You've been through a lot, fine, now you have had your meal, you're about to, just before you sleep, you can communicate, you can discuss serious things. Or in the alternative, just before you eat. You might be hungry, but that does not make the person inability to hear. The person will still hear, but there are some people that don't even want to discuss when they are eating. So you must look at the time that is most convenient for you to discuss whatever you have to say to your spouse. Another good aspect of communication is watching the mood. The mood of your spouse will determine the kind of response you'll get from whatever you're communicating. For example, He's been through traffic. He just got back. He spent 3 hours on a journey that's not supposed to take up to 30 minutes. And then he's just getting home. He wants to just have his meal and drop to bed and then sleep because he has to get up early in the morning. And that's when you want to begin to discuss. His mood is already on a foul side. That's not a good time to discuss something good. Or you see that your wife had been bullied by the boss in the office, and then she comes home grumpy, complaining, and then you want to begin to talk serious thing. You get a negative response. So the mood is also very important in communication. Watch the mood. Look at the best time. When is the best frame of mind? When she's in the best frame of mind, that's when you discuss important issues. Another important aspect of communication is choosing your word. The way you present whatever you want to say to your spouse also determines the kind of response you get. Sometimes we express ourselves, what you're passing across is actually good, but the presentation, if the presentation is bad, then you may not get a good response. For example, you want to tell your spouse that the sitting room is not looking too good, and you come home saying, look at it, why is everywhere so dirty? I keep telling you, you need to be up and doing, and then you clean up this place. That's the duty of a woman. She's going to tell you, if I don't do it, then you do it yourself or get someone else to do it. I'm not a slave in this house. But now, let's rewind. Assuming you come in, and then you say, our sitting room is not looking so good, we need to pay more attention to this sitting room because of certain things that are not in place. In a clean environment will do us a lot of good. Most likely, she will understand it and find something to do about it. So your choice of word and then the tone with which it is said is also very, very important. If it's the woman that wants to talk to the husband and you know that the school fees are due, already the children are being embarrassed, but you must find a way of getting it across. You must choose your word. For example, if the woman comes up and says, honey, welcome, I've been waiting for you to come. Oh. Do you know that the headmaster was he really embarrassed me today? If you see the way he spoke to me, just because you have not paid, you better go and do something about it. You said you paid last week. The kind of response you'll get will be one type. But now let's rewind. Suppose the man comes and the woman says, oh, welcome, well done. You say you are doing so well, and I pray for you that you will keep doing well. God will make way for you. And then after that prayers, I was at the school today. I even saw the head teacher, and we had a little discussion. I know we ought to have paid the money, but I'm just thinking that we should just make some little efforts. You had me using we, not that you. Though is the one that's going to do the payment, but she's presenting it in a way that is the two of them that will need to source for it. You would have gotten your message across without raising any anger in the man. That is what I mean by choosing your word and choosing the tone of your word. And then when you have very serious thing to discuss, you should get close. Sit closely to your spouse. Not sitting across the sitting room and then you're discussing something very, very important to you. Sitting next to your spouse will create a kind of closeness that will make that spouse respond to you positively. For example, you want to discuss that the food today was horrible. And then you go, well, that food I only managed is because I was hungry. That kind of food, you better find a way and check the salt you have. The salt was too much. You want to kill me with salt? And with sitting very close to her, well, I know you spent a lot of time doing this cooking. I appreciate you. But I think you should watch that salt that you bought. It seems that one is unusually sharp. So that you just watch the content. She would have gotten your message. Not until you scream it down her face. You must learn. If I'm sitting close to her, fondling or playing with her hand at the time you're saying it, we even mellow the reaction. And at the end of the day, you would have gotten your message across. We must speak our words, watch our tone, stay close when discussing very important, check the mood of your spouse, and not only that, choose your word. Choose your word. It is very, very important. And I like to say this finally concerning communication. Appreciation is also very key. You must appreciate each other for everything, even for doing nothing. You know, the Yorubas, we have greetings for everything. Even if you are not doing anything, there is a greeting for it. So you must find a way of appreciating each other. Appreciate the person for what he has done or she has done. Appreciate for what he or she is yet to do. That will encourage your spouse to even do more. It's still part of communication. You want to correct your spouse, you lace it up. You appreciate first, you put the correction, and then you cover it again. You sandwich your correction with appreciation. Appreciation at the top, appreciation at the back. Correction should be in the middle. For example, still using the food that was not properly done or was not properly cooked, you know, there's a way you can still present it. I only God knows how many hours it took you to make this meal. You well done, my wife. But please watch the place where you buy the salt. It seems the salt they are selling for you there is not a good one because it's too sharp. So that when else you want to use it, you reduce the quantity because this one seems to be too sharp. But anyway, you did well. Thank you for taking time to make meal for me. You know, and then you give her a cuddle. Honestly, you have passed your message across totally. Appreciation is very key. For example, your husband has just paid the rent and you know that the school fees is already due. Instead of screaming it down his face, you first of all need to appreciate him, how he has paid the house rent, how he has not put your family to shame, and that you look forward to him making more money, that will be greatly connected. You say all kind of prayers, all the things you need him to hear, and then you quickly put it in that the school fees, they've not actually called me, but I just feel we should start thinking about it. I've used the word we again, because it is not just him. It should be a collective thing. So that is already passing the message across to him that the school fees is already due. And after that, you appreciate it again. But you know, there are so many people that are out there that are so irresponsible. They don't even pay house rent. They don't even do anything. My husband, I appreciate you. And then you have communicated. You have put it across to him in a way that anybody would understand. Regardless of your level, regardless of your status, you still know that this is your home, this is your husband. If you think he's lower than you, you wouldn't have been married to him. You are married to him because you believe in him. You believe in his ability to keep a marriage. You believe in him that can be responsible for the upkeep of this home. You believed in him. That's why you married him. So keep that love. That thing that made you marry him should be, or that thing that made you marry her should be strong enough to sustain and keep you married. Let's have a look at how do you react during communication. Number one, you have to be a good listener. When you are listening to your spouse, you look straight into the person's eyes to show that your mind is not elsewhere. You must concentrate and listen. Number two, you have to be an active listener without being judgmental. What do I mean by that? Someone is reporting an incident to you, and then you are already talking back. You shouldn't have done that. Why did you do that? You're not going to hear the rest of the story. That's the only episode you hear. You won't even hear season 2. But if you are listening, you must be participative as well. And that's not bad. You know, without being judgmental. You are not expected to judge. Even if you will judge, not at that point. And then number 3, don't defend yourself. When you are communicating and then your spouse is responding to what you have said, you don't start defending. Some people are so on the defensive. Before you say, but you said, no. That's not how to react during communication. Don't be open. Let your spouse, you told your spouse so that he or she can give you his or her own opinion. So if you become defensive, then what you are saying is, just listen to me. I don't expect any response. And don't forget, we have learned that communication is only complete when it is properly understood. And then feedback is also important. So when you are expecting your spouse to just be quiet and not respond, then you're not getting a feedback. It means communication is still incomplete. So don't be on the defensive. Don't defend yourself. Be open to correction. Okay, I didn't do that well. Okay, next time I will do it better. That's a better way to handle it. And then finally, I also like you to know that communication is also important and that you need to react in a way that will make your spouse to be comfortable. Don't attempt to run down the other person. Don't shout the person down. That is the one that is telling you something. Listen first when it's time for you to talk. You talk. You don't interrupt when your spouse is communicating. You listen as much, especially if the communication has to do with you. If what the person is saying is about you, you don't interrupt. You hear your spouse out completely, and then you can give back your own opinion that, and it's not that way that you thought, I know this is the way you felt it was, but that wasn't the real situation. This is the way it actually was. And then there'll be a better understanding. And before you know it, you become best of friends. Before you know it, there is no gist. You will tell your friend that you won't be able to tell your spouse. There's no gist. You know, there is something they call men's talk. They say men don't gossip. They gist. They don't gossip. What do? They communicate whatever they do. But if your wife is your best friend, you don't need to do your gisting. And even say girls gist. They just go talking. You should make your spouse your best friend, your talk mate, someone you can talk to, someone. You should make yourself someone that your spouse can have enough confidence to release any information without fear that same information will get out there, especially to the person that you have discussed about. Communication is very key. Keep talking. A talking couple is a loving couple. I look forward to hearing from you. I want to hear what your opinion is. You need someone you want to share one issue or the other with. I look forward to you coming up with your question, with all that you need to know. Because a problem shared is a problem half solved. At least you know you're going in the right way. You are married. You can remain married. You can win that your spouse back. All it takes is you. All it takes is your determination. And when you make up your mind to remain married, of course, you will be married forever. I remain Abimbola Akinwumi Iliokoya, now that you are married.